All right, let's add Deepwater Asset Management managing partner Gene Munster to this conversation. Gene, how are you thinking about this ask of Judge Mehta?
Well, my initial reaction is to go to the worst case scenario, which would be, in fact, that Chrome gets spun out. In that case, Google's call it 90% search share within kind of the, I think what I would consider developed countries. 90% search share is going to drop. It probably goes to 80%. And in that case, you probably get a search business that was growing at 10 to 14% over the past several quarters to quickly drop down to low single digits, maybe potentially even going negative for a little bit. And so this says the reason why the stock's down 5% is that this really gets to the core of half their business, which is search. And they will claw that back over time if this does get spun out. People love Google, and they will slowly come back, just like they did with Yandex when they switched out their core in Firefox. And so that's the first place my mind goes to. The second place is, what's the probability of this actually happening? And I think the panel outlined it appropriately. I think it's the odds of this, anything actually going anywhere, are low, not just because it's a difficult task to get a big spin out like this, but there just simply isn't precedence to it. And so I think that ultimately this too shall pass. I do think that there are other things within what the Department of Justice and the FTC are doing against big tech that's going to rear its head in the next several months. But I think this chapter around Chrome getting spun out is going to just kind of blow over effectively.
Let's though pursue that worst case scenario pathway, Gene. I mean, what does Gemini look like without a Chrome?
Well, it doesn't look very good. I mean, it goes back to this 90% share that is going to drop, and Gemini needs, it's right now, AI overviews is riding on top of search. That is the mechanism that Google is fighting OpenAI with, is using their search dominance to do that. And so that's been a key piece to this puzzle. The puzzle of Gemini is to leverage search. And so anything you do, anything that happens that has a negative impact on their search share, this loosely circles back to something else that was buried in this Department of Justice letter that came out, was related to Apple and their deal related to their search deal. And on both of these, if that deal got voided, that would have a negative impact. So this does, again, I think it's a very low probability. I don't think this is the A topic on Google. I think it's perplexity is the A topic. But since we're talking regulation here, I think it's something that if it does happen, the stock would definitely go lower. I mean, Karen mentioned it'll go lower. I bet it'll go down another 10, 15% on that.
Gene, it's Karen. Thanks for being on. So about this default, is that what would be the default, or is it there is no default and you have to choose from a menu, in which case you might very well choose Google, to get back to your point of keeping a good percentage of market share? Do you know what the remedy would be looking for?
The remedy would be, so if Chrome got spun out, what would happen is when you start up your browser, they would randomize which option comes up first for you to select. And so that would be some sort of a equal playing field to do that. Presumably, people would look down and check and go with Google. And so I think that's why they're not going to lose a huge percentage of their share, because I think a lot of people, but that's probably what the remedy. Ultimately, this Chrome business, without a deal where Google would pay for placement or somebody paying for placement, that business is a horrible business. I don't know who would want it. I wouldn't pay $20 billion. I wouldn't pay $5 billion because out of fears that the Department of Justice would block any of these kind of payments. And so, Karen, I think that it's a randomized piece. I think that anybody who's interested in purchasing this would want to have some assurance that they could sell placement on that.